So what is Spring Cloud Config? Spring Cloud Config is a tool that helps you to manage and distribute configuration data for your applications. It allows you to store configuration data in a central place, such as the Git repository or your backend database or your local file storage. And then it will retrieve the data from there at runtime. With Spring Cloud Config, you can update the application configuration data without having to redeploy your application. This makes it easier to manage your application configuration, especially in a distributed environment, whereas you may have multiple instances running in your application. Overall, Spring Cloud Config helps you to keep your application configuration organized, consistent, and easy to manage. So, we'll now understand the problem that we are facing in current scenarios. So we all know that the Spring Cloud config lets you, one sec. So yeah, this is the current format that we are basically following. To understand the problem, yeah, this is the, one sec. Till date, we use our properties file tightly coupled, and if we have to change any application.properties settings, then we have to redeploy the whole of the applications and then build it. So if something changes in the property file, we have to manually change it everywhere, which is a problem. But the bigger problem is that we have to redeploy the service every time we make the changes, which is a tedious task to do. This can be solved by Spring Cloud Config. What is Spring Cloud Config Server? It is basically a centralized configuration management system. It allows application to access the configuration from a single source. That can be GitHub repository or your database or your file storage. And what is Spring Cloud Config Client? It is basically a library that allows your service to be retrieved from the configuration that is the Spring Cloud Server. Basically, the Spring Cloud Server is a broker between the GitHub repository where your files are stored and the client. It enables a service to be used for a specific profile of configuration. That is, if we want a dev application properties, then there is a way we can just call the dev application properties, or if we want multiple properties to be called like dev, prod, QA, all three application.properties we need in that microservice, it can be called. So we don't have to always rebuild our microservices, the client microservices. Basically, we can just commit our changes to the GitHub repository, and we'll use a actuator which will keep the refresh scope annotation, and just it will be updated without redeploying our microservices. So now we'll see the architecture. So to solve the problem of Spring Cloud Config, Spring Cloud Config was introduced. Though Spring Cloud Config can be managed by multiple changes in the file, we don't have to worry about the redeployment. Basically, if you can see here, this is the server which acts as a mediator between the microservices and the storage. So so all the files can be saved separately and on the repository and can be called from there only. The Spring Cloud Config Server act as a broker between the location where the properties file are stored and the microservices. And basically the whatever things we want to change in nowadays, if we want to change a application.properties, and if we have 10 microservices, then we have to change we have to change all the we have to change all the application properties from the all the 10 microservices, which is a tedious task for a developer. So Spring Cloud Config Server helps you in this, and if all the properties can be saved in the Git repository, and just changes can be made from there, and automatically the Spring Cloud server will handle that changes and update the changes to the microservices. So now Amresh will show you the demo. Yeah, Amresh.
So, hello guys. So, as Rohan explained you about the Spring Cloud Config server and client, now we are going to see the implementation part. For now, we are going to look at the Spring Cloud Config server, how it works and its implementation. And later we will see the implementation of the client side. But first, we will focus on the server side implementation. Okay. So this is a server, like normal project of a Spring Boot. And in Cloud Config Server project, we need one main dependency. That is just a second. That is a Spring Cloud Config Server. Uh, Here it is. Yeah, and we just have to add an annotation, that is @ enable config server, that so like which is on the main class of our Spring project. Yeah, yeah, you can see here. uh, huh. And after that, after adding the annotation, we will head to the application.properties file in the server, where we will do some configurations. So these are the basic configurations that we need to set up a server. That is a first is a server.port, the recommended port number for the server is 8888. After that, here is one configuration property, like uh, here is our git repo URL. Now we will see the git repo. Just wait a minute. Yeah, this is our git repo, and here we can store all the properties files, like here let me show you one for the demo. Here we can store our properties and values, like, and here the main part of the like properties, we can store the naming convention of our file. The first one here, the application hyphen dev dot properties. So first, the application is the name of our application, and the hyphen separated profile, like the application name followed by the profile, like that is a dev qat, or anything can. So let's move to our sts. Huh. Let me run our server. Just to wait a second, please. So here we can test our server, like it is running okay. So this one is a port of our server, and let me hit. Yes. So here we can see the properties, like we have added these properties in our git repo. Let me show you. qat. Yeah, here are the test new application.qat and the test from qat. Here we can see that. So now we will look at the implementation of the client side. So the dependency that we will need for the client side is just a second, let me show you. Yeah, this one, the Spring Cloud Starter config. And now we will look at the configurations in the application properties file that we need to make our client up and running. So here are first we have to enter like we have to add our URL of a server. You can see here the localhost 888, and this one optional colon your meeting. Okay, we have to end up like the optional colon config server. Yeah, this is used to, like, it is like to uh, like basically if the server is not running, then this will help to, like, it will not throw the error if the server is not there or anything. So after that, here we have to like mention the application name that we have like used here. Just a second. This application is our application name uh, here, and after that the profile, which profile is active, that we have to specify here. And this one is a cloud config enable equal to like false. Uh, like it if we want to like, it is by default true, and if we want to like if we do not want to connect, and then we can make it false. Okay, so let me run our client side also. Just wait a second. Okay, our client is up now. Yeah. So let me show you the controller, what I have done. Yeah. So this is a controller, and there is one method like test, and here I have used the property name, like which I have added in like git repo in our properties file. So now we will see how it works. So the my test, which is our, like, the value of our property, and yeah, we can see here the my test, and there are like one more thing, like security. If you want to encrypt, like, there are some additional features that like the Spring Cloud provides.
Yeah, so basically we are keeping our application.properties file right now in the public repo. So it is vulnerable, right? So if we want to encrypt the data, then Spring Cloud config also provides us a feature, and that helps us to encrypt or decrypt the data. We just have to add our encrypt.key in the server file, server's application.properties file, and whatever encryption key we want to keep, we can keep it, and then we'll restart the server. Yeah,
Server is running. Just wait a second.
yeah, so the server is up and running. So now we just have to encrypt our sensitive data, right? So we'll just write the URL, that is localhost 8888/encrypt, and we'll keep it a post request, and we'll add our sensitive data that we want to encrypt, like anything. So, and the encrypted data will be shown here, and thus we can decrypt it also. We just have to put it localhost 888 decrypt, and it will be also be a post method, and thus it will be decrypted. So we will add this encrypted properties in our application.properties file in the Git repo. We just have to add a prefix that is cipher in it. Cipher and add the data. So when we will fetch this data in the client side, the server will automatically know that it has to be ciphered, and thus we will retrieve the data. We will retrieve the decrypted data in the client side. We'll see that now. Yes, it's up and running. Yeah, so you can see we have saved the encrypted data, but we are receiving the decrypted data. Thus, this is the implementation and the demo for Spring Cloud Config server and client. And more additional configurations that we can do is we have already shown you the encrypt and decrypt our sensitive data. We can also do the key management. Multiple file source can also be used, that is the multiple Git repositories, and we keep it separately. All the application.properties file, we'll keep it separately, and we can call it simultaneously. We can also keep our private Git repo as private and call it via SSH key. Multiple environment management can also be done. That is, we can keep our files, we can keep it as a folder structure. That development folder will have all the files from the development side, and the QAT will have the from the QAT side. We can also secure the secrets via vault. And yeah, so these are the additional configurations that we can do. Um, is there any questions?
Okay. So it's a great demo, Rohit and Amber. Okay. So I want to add a few points there. So Bhushan sir, like as we discussed on the startup OS project, that like the developer should not have access to the prod repo, like prod database, right? So currently, what we are doing, we are keeping all the production database, like username, passwords, and other all security related things at the property side. Okay. So by using the Spring Cloud Config, what we can do, we can give this like to the DevOps team, that DevOps team can manage this repo, and they will they will directly add the like whatever the keys and the like production database related things on the Git repository. So at the developer side, we can like only can access those for like just running the code and for running the application basically. So that way, that one of the way we can secure the like uh, production database from the developer side.
Yes, absolutely. I mean, I just wanted to add few points here. First of all, it was a great demo. I have to say that. And this is really helpful. And we have seen this in one of our project called as Crew. Maybe Jemish can add a bit more onto this. How we have used, the similar structure in over there, and it had helped us a lot. It has saved a lot of time also, and also the way right now Rohit was talking about the security aspect, right? So we never had any access to the production keys or any information. It was totally handled by the DevOps, and we were just implementing it and using the very simple folder structure that we have seen, and it had solved majority of our problem. So definitely this is very practical and very useful, especially when we have a lot of microservices and multiple environments to deal with.
Yeah, right. And what is happening, like if we are having the 10 microservices and like we are keeping
Exactly.
same configurations like every site, and if we just want to update only the name or let's say URL of like front end, then what we have to do, like we have to update on like every repo and then again restart all the repos. So this
Exactly.
like very hectic process. So
Yes,
like
a
updating only
centralized.
at one, yeah,
Correct.
that will
Correct.
help us
Centralized.
definitely.